Hi, my name is Nicole Bergstrom, and this is for teaching for second grade, and we're talking about personal health and physical activity. Hello class, how are you today?
Good.
Today we're going to be talking about going to the doctor. Raise your hand if any of you have ever gone to the doctor before.
Me.
Raise your hand if you have ever gotten a checkup at the doctor. Okay, put your hands down. Raise your hand if you can tell me one thing that happens at the doctor's office. Zoe, what happens at the doctor's office? You could get a shot at the doctor's office. What else, Jackson?
You can get your jaws pulled out.
You could get your jaws pulled out. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
At the dentist. Usually they take care of your teeth at the dentist. Jasleen, what else happens at the doctor's office? They listen to your heart. Sophia, what else happens at the doctor's office?
You can get an ear infection.
You could get an ear infection, and then what would they do? How would they check for your ear infection?
They would put something in your ear like that, and then they would look.
They would look in your ear. Annika, what else would they do?
And they would look at your throat.
They would look at your throat. What else would they do, Bailey?
They could check your blood pressure.
Yep, they check your blood pressure. You're right. What else, Kaden?
They sometimes do your arm.
They sometimes are you tracking the same thing as Bailey. They put the cuff on your arm. That's called your blood pressure. What else?
They take your temperature.
They take your temperature. Okay, hands down now. Now, to start off here, we're going to read a poem. It is called Check Me Out. It is written by Patricia M. Daschel. First, I'm going to read it once, and then we're going to use the back side of our sheet. So if you can read, you can follow along if you want to point with your finger. Start at the top. It says, sitting and waiting, that's what I do. Sitting and waiting outside on the chairs, inside on the table. It's boring on the chairs, it's cold on the table. I sit and I wait. Sitting and waiting, that's what I do. Sitting, waiting, then she walks in. No more waiting. Sitting and waiting, that's what I do. Sitting and waiting, waiting while I get weighed. Sitting for my blood pressure and my temperature. I don't move on the scale, I'm still with the thermometer. I sit and wait. I say, and she looks at my throat. I cough. She listens to me breathe. I look right. I look left. She shines a light at me. She looks in my ears. She thumps my back. She taps my knees. Sitting and waiting, that's mostly what I do. Whenever I come here, I sit and I wait for the doctor to check me out. Now this time when we read it, I want you guys to read along with me. So put your finger on it and we're going to read along together. Here we go. Sitting and waiting, that's what I do. Sitting and waiting on the chairs. Inside on the table, it's boring on the chairs. It's cold on the table, I sit and wait. Sitting and waiting, that's what I do. Sitting and waiting, then she walks in. No more waiting. Who are they talking about? Who comes in?
The doctor and the patient.
The doctor comes in, yep. Okay, we're on the fourth line down now. On the fourth paragraph. Sitting and waiting, that's what I do. Sitting and waiting, waiting while I give way. Sitting for my blood pressure and my temperature. I don't move on the scale. I'm still with the thermometer. I sit and I wait. I say, She looks at my throat. I cough. She listens to me breathe. I look right. I look left. She shines at me. She looks in my ears. She thumps my back. She taps my knees. Sitting and waiting, that's mostly what I do. Whenever I come here, I sit and I wait. Wait for the doctor to check me out. This time, when we're reading the poem, I'm going to read it one more time. You're going to look at this side of your paper this time. And when you hear the part in our poem that says, like, I get weighed, I want you to circle the scale. If they say the thermometer, which one would you circle? The thermometer. What about when she checks out your ears? Which one would you get checked?
The white thingamabob.
It's called an otoscope. This one's called an otoscope. What about when they check your heart, what would they look at?
The stethoscope.
The stethoscope. No, you just have to circle it, Sophia, when you hear it, okay? Just circle it with your pencil. The stick is, that when you look at your throat, that's called a tongue depressor. Everybody say tongue depressor.
You put it in your mouth.
They put it in your mouth, and then when they say,
Then they throw it out because
they
it
look-
has your spit.
then they look at your, you're right, they do throw it out because it has your spit on it. Okay, then they use the light to check your throat. Are we ready? Are you on the other side of your paper? Just this side. Alright, when you hear, I want you to circle it. Sitting and waiting, that's what I do. Sitting and waiting, outside on the chairs, inside on the table. Sitting and waiting, that's what I do. It's cold on the table, I sit and I wait. Sitting and waiting, that's what I do. Sitting and waiting, then she walks in. No more waiting. Sitting and waiting, that's what I do. Sitting and waiting while I get weighed.
I don't have one.
Sitting for my blood pressure. Your blood pressure. Which one sets your blood pressure? Alright, good. And for my temperature. I do not move on the scale. I'm still with my thermometer. I sit and I wait. I say, circle the one that she uses, that she will use when you say, She listens to me breathe. I look right and I look left. Which one is she listening to you breathe with? The stethoscope. Yep. She shines a light at me. She looks in my ears. Which one's for your ears? Which one's for your ears? Sitting and waiting, that's mostly what I do whenever I come here. I sit and I wait for the doctor to check me out. Okay, did everybody find them in your paper there?
Yeah.
Good.
Write it to the doctor.
You turn it off. Alright, so we just talked about, in large group, we talked about what happens at a checkup. Can anybody remember what happens at a checkup from our home? Zoe?
I sit and I wait at the doctor.
You sit and you wait at the doctor's. What else happened in your home? Jasmine, what else happened in your home?
That they check the thermometer temperature.
They check your with the thermometer? Yep.
Check your blood pressure.
They check your blood pressure. Which one's the blood pressure? You're right. Zoe, what else happened there? What is that one? Do you remember what it's called? It's called a scale. What do they measure with that? They measure your feet and your body? Are you sure about that? What do they measure with the scale? What do they measure? They measure your weight, how much you weigh. You're right. Oh, and what do they use this one for? Do you know, Owen? Do you remember when you're at the doctor's office, you're sitting and waiting, and then you say, what do they check? Your throat. Remy, what do they check this one with? What do they do with the stethoscope? They check your heart. Jasmine, what do they do with the otoscope with this one right here? They check your ears. What do they check? What do they check with the thermometer, Zoe?
Your temperature, if you have to go home or stay. Do you feel hot?